Dancin Pete's Tip of the Week, brought to you by Complimentary Horsemanship. Okay, today's tip of the week is recognize the slightest try. So a lot of times when we're on the ground with our horse or in the saddle, we don't recognize that try. And what I mean by try for one horse may be one half a step, and that might be all that horse can do to show, hey, I'm trying. Or for another horse, it might be two steps before they really showing a try. For another horse, it might be just a blink of their eye. And that's where it gets tricky, when you have that shut down horse and you go, I just need a try, and they blink and come to consciousness and go, oh, I'm wide-eyed, now I can blink. That's a try for them. So just like us as people, you might ask me to read a book and I go, well, I read a chapter. You go, well, that's not a try. I'm like, oh, I won't read another one now. So for me, one chapter would be a big try if you asked me to read a book. So every horse is different. So recognizing that slightest try is really hard for a lot of people.
That is so spot on, because a very good friend of mine, Kayla Stevens, came to help me move my Mustang yesterday. And he's young. He's only been on how many trailer rides? I think most of them have been with Betsy. Have I mentioned Betsy this show enough?
Betsy's getting $5 a spot.
I know, right? But Kayla and I have never trailered up a horse together before. So Kayla's being super respectful of me because she doesn't know what I do with my Mustang. So she's helping me move him using her truck and trailer. And she's being, kind of staying out of the way, like you do, when you don't know. So Flynn took a couple of steps up into a trailer that he hadn't been in before, darker than the trailer he's used to, and narrower going in. And so I was being very patient and letting him take a look. And when he took a couple of steps in and Kayla said, that's the biggest stretch I've ever seen in back legs and horse in my life, because his back legs couldn't have been stretched out any further behind him. But his front legs were in, and he would keep shuffling forward a little bit, and so then I would be reward, because you did what you're supposed to do, and let him know that was good, you're good. And then he stepped back out a couple times, and on like the second time, I decided it was time to be Betsy. Be Betsy. Be Betsy!
Oh, gosh.
And I said to Kayla, do you have a lunging whip or a dressage whip? She said yes, and I said, could you get it? Because if you get it and walk behind him, he'll think Betsy's here, and then it'll be a real try. And he did a real try, and that was it. He was in. And she never even had to didn't even go near him, didn't touch him. He just came around, and that was it. Oh, I'm supposed to get in. And so then he did the real try and got in the trailer. But he was really trying, he was thinking, and he was looking, and he was checking it out, and he was trying to decide, this isn't Betsy's trailer. Whose trailer is this?
And that's the try that we would talk about by feet. So the front feet were given big tries. The back feet, because he was stretched out, were saying, we can't do anything. And this is where people make the mistake, is they'll do a millimeter with that back leg, and they'll think that's not a try. For that moment, that is a try for that horse. And that's why I always tell people, especially in trail loading, horses think in millimeters. We think in inches and feet. So if I had a snake in the studio,
I wouldn't be in the studio.
You wouldn't be in the studio.
I wouldn't be in the studio.
But if I said, take a step towards me, you would think that 1 millimeter close to that snake was like 6 miles of you running towards it, and you'd be like, nope, I can't do any more than a millimeter.
If I took a millimeter step towards it, it'd be a miracle. Because I am so snake phobic. But he was really trying, and I was letting him know he was good for trying. And then we got to that, I call it my Betsy breaking point. Which is when I get to the point where I'm like, okay, now you got to try some more. And he was so good. He knew right away, oh, it's time to step in, and I'm good.
Well, and there's a difference between...
He had his 2 times to have a good look, and he knew everything was good. Yeah.
You and I need to do some trail loading.
No, he did really good. I was really proud of him.
So that's got to versus get to. So when I go and help someone it's a get-to situation, we might spend days or weeks
Right.
getting them calm
Right.
and relaxed for it, so that you walk up to the trailer and they go, oh, I know what to do, and they go right in. Or
Right.
even sit on the fender and say,
and
go ahead.
that ideally is if you get to spend enough time with your horse, as I wish I had in the past year, but I haven't. Ideally, that's absolutely the right way to do it. But the fact that he was so willing to try in a new situation, and he has got very used to trailering in Betsy's trailer, and he's got very used to that, and he's young still, and he has probably only been trailered, maybe 6 times in his life? Yeah, Betsy's like 5, close, 5 or 6. So, and he's still very young, and he's, for the past 12 months, other than being scratched and groomed, he hasn't really had anything done with him at all, except a couple of moving trips. Now it'll be different because he'll be home with me. But during this period of time, he really hasn't had a lot of handling. So I have to give him a lot of credit where credit's due. New trailer, new person. Here we go again. Where are we going? Also, it was 100 degrees. Which is not ideal
and
for working with a horse in the heat.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, it was 98 because it dropped 2 degrees in the evening. But, it was kind of a situation of when you're in someone else's trailer on someone else's time, it's not the time to start training. Like we've talked about before, when we're going to a hurricane or a fire situation, that's not the time to train. And it felt like a fire in 100 degrees last night.
Yes, ma'am.
So it was a situation of let's just get this done. As safely as possible and make it a good experience for him. And it was a good experience. But I was proud of him because in a new trailer, a new situation, he was stepping up.
What I would tell you is, you have to think of it as, that doesn't matter what kind of trailer it is, we're getting on. So you got to put that picture in your mind. Doesn't matter what it is, a step up. I broke down one time and got my trailer stuck, and they showed up with a trailer. I had 3 horses, took them around my trailer through this swampy area that I stupidly brought my trailer through, and they loaded up. Strange trailer, because I'm like, this is a trailer.
Didn't like the swamp.
Yeah, this is a trailer, and you've got to get on. And I mean, they got on no problem. The funny thing was, when they got them to the farm, the girl opened the door and says, oh yeah, Pete just waits for them, and they come right out. Well, no, they're not supposed to get out unless I pick up their tail. And they went, they don't know any better, so they backed out.
So they backed out.
They just backed out, and they were like, oh yeah, they just backed out, got out of the way, and the next one came, and they were brilliant. This was amazing. And I'm like, whew.
Well, I should have videoed it because it was real cute. The Mini, who's only the size of a big dog, jumped in the trailer, and it's a big step up in that trailer. And he jumped. I mean, front legs, up he went. That was cute. Actually, that was video worthy.